I can't say enough of how this center influenced me and the benefits that my wife got from it. I thought nobody can take care of her like me, and I knew I had to do something for my family. It's in their hearts that they want to provide the care for the people that deserve it here.
In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phelan, a weekly program here on LSN Television. We're also carried by a number of radio affiliates throughout Lancaster and beyond. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. Produced here at Fairfield Christian Academy, executive producer Kelly Roberts. And we've got a great program as we get back to school for the next couple weeks. We're going to be talking about sexting, and then we're going to talk about cyberbullying. We've got great guests. They're with the Fairfield County Prosecutor's Office. With us is Darcy Cook. Welcome, Darcy.
Thank you.
And Zoe Lamberson. Welcome, Zoe.
Thank
we
you.
do appreciate you joining us because I think this is very important, and I think you're going to be able to let our listeners know a lot of things about things that are going on, surprisingly enough, in Fairfield County. And a lot of times I think we think these things happen some other place, but you folks see it all right here in our county.
Absolutely. We do.
Before we get started, Darcy, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I've been with the prosecutor's office since 2011. I do mostly sex cases, all of the kids' sex cases where the victims are children, and many of the adults as well. And my primary focus is adult felony work.
Wow, wow. Now, do you live here from Ohio?
Yes, yep, I'm from Ohio, and we moved here to Lancaster in 2006.
And where did you move from?
Actually, my husband was in the Navy, so we moved around.
Okay, lots of different locations,
Yeah.
huh? And do you have children? Or?
Yes, one.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old?
He's 15. He goes to one of the local high schools here.
Wow, well, congratulations.
Thank
Well,
you.
that's a great age. You know, keeps
it's
a lot
fun.
of things,
Yes.
a lot of stuff. Zoe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been with the prosecutor's office since 2012 after I graduated law school and passed the bar. I started out doing a lot of juvenile prosecution, and then I've slowly made my way, and now I work solely in adult felony. I do some appeals. Okay. But the juvenile part was always really interesting, so I think it's really relevant to what we're here for today.
Yeah. Now, are you from the Lancaster area?
I'm not. I actually currently live in Columbus.
Okay.
I've been there for about 5 years. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Columbus is a great city.
It is. It is.
Really
I love
is.
it there.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to join us. First of all, let's start with you, Darcy. For our viewers and listeners that may not know, what is sexting? What does that mean?
Well, it's a big range of things. I think normally people think of sexting as anything from talking to sex, talking about sex to each other, but really what we in our office are interested in is the sending and receiving of naked pictures through the internet. So it's through cell phones, it's through blogs, it's Facebook, it's any number of applications like that.
And how common is this?
This is very, very common. I mean, and today, a lot of what we see is both adults doing this and juveniles doing this, think like To Catch a Predator, those types of situations. But what we're focusing on today is the kind of having and sending and receiving of these nude pictures and videos and images of teens, because we've been seeing a ton of this, at least, just in my time, if not, for a long time before.
So what would be the age groups that would be doing this?
It starts younger than you would think. I have some tweens that have done things all the way up through adults. I think it really starts in maybe late elementary school, middle school, and then it's very prevalent in high school.
Yeah, it just sounds, from my generation, it just sounds like really kind of peculiar stuff, because
Right.
you'd think, who would do this? And I guess the next question would be, how problematic is this to the person that's sending this stuff out? I mean, what can happen?
It can really range from, a lot of times one teen will send it to another teen. That teen sometimes holds it and keeps it for himself or herself, but often what we're seeing is that they're sending it out to others, like, hey, this is really funny, or a girlfriend and boyfriend do it together and then they break up and it goes out to other people. So then once those people receive it, they typically think it's funny and send it on to other people. So it really gets widespread to a lot of people.
And this is a criminal activity, right?
It is, and that's the biggest thing that we see a lot, is that a lot of time teens think that, oh, you know, if I take a nude picture of myself, it's not some old creepy guy doing it, you know,
right.
So it's not a crime if I do it since I'm also underage. But anytime somebody takes a picture, has a picture, or asks for a picture of somebody who's under the age of 18, that is a crime, even if they themselves are also under the age of 18.
And I saw on before the program, on one of my notes, they talk about the snowball effect. So,
Yeah.
So what starts happening once they send it to their boyfriend, their girlfriend, or something like that? They break up. Then what can happen?
Yeah, and then the angry boyfriend or girlfriend sends it on to other friends. So say Zoe and I send a naked picture to Zoe, and Zoe sends it to 3 friends. So there's 4 charges there that we can charge Zoe already with: the having it, and then the 3 sending it on.
What about the people receiving it?
And then the people that receive it, they can be charged for just having it if they keep it. And then typically they send it on because they think it's funny, so they can get charged for having it and then sending it on to each of those friends.
And I guess the next question: how difficult is it to get this genie back in the box?
There is no getting it back in the box, and that's the thing we really want to talk about, is preventing this from happening, or at least stopping that cycle. Because, you know, once that's out there, you know, as we all know, once it's out in the internet, once it's out in text or Tumblr or Kick or wherever it is, you know, it will stay out there. It's not coming back in.
Wow, wow. And so what? Let's talk to the young people out there that may be listening or watching today. What's some advice? And I guess the other question, is this more prevalent with females sending it to males or males sending it to?
No, I think it's across the board.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we see a lot of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a combination thing too. You know, I mean, someone might ask for it if you solicit that information. You know, you might ask your girlfriend for a picture, or, you know, or a guy might send a picture, you know, or something like that. Even asking for it starts that cycle. It's not just, you know, just the sending or the taking. It's kind of a combination of things.
So what should a young person do, a juvenile do, if they receive something that's unsolicited? All of a sudden they get it on their phone. What do they need to do? What is some of their responsibilities?
I think at that point they need to go to the school administration or the resource officer. The schools know exactly what steps to take and how to stop that from continuing on. So I think that's the very first step. And we've seen where a lot of kids don't want to do that because they don't want to get in trouble themselves.
Right.
Or they don't want to get their friends in trouble either. But it's really important to stop that before it spreads so far.
And the thing about that is we've been, you know, talking about how just having it, you can be charged, or, you know, all
Right.
this. And I think that's a big fear. But the fact of the matter is, you know, as a prosecutor, you do have a lot of discretion in what charges you choose to pursue.
Right.
And the thing that teens need to understand is, you know, if they come out and say, hey, you know, so-and-so or somebody, you know, sent me a picture, I don't want to get in trouble for this, you know, that way it can be addressed. And unless there are some crazy circumstances, you know, that person's not going to get in trouble for bringing that to somebody's attention.
Now, do you become aware of it primarily through the schools? Or do you get calls from other juveniles? Do you call from parents? How does the prosecutor's office or law enforcement get involved in these kind of things?
I think it's all of those, but typically we get our cases from law enforcement.
Okay.
We work very closely with the schools as well as your office, and the area agencies, we work very closely with them and the schools. So typically, I think that's the majority of how we get them. But we do get them from other places, from parents calling in, from friends calling in, but mostly from the schools.
What do parents need to do if they discover this? And what are some precautions, I guess, parents can take as far as their social media with their kids in general?
Parents definitely need to monitor. I mean, there's a line between, I guess, stalking your child's online activity, but also being aware. And, I think teens often, I believe there's a lot of surveys say, they're less likely to engage in some of these behaviors if they know that a parent has their password and could log on and, see some of this stuff. So they need to be aware of that. They need to also, I think, talk to their kids and make sure that they know some of this information. A lot of teens just aren't aware that it is against the law and that they can, get into trouble for it.
Let's talk about, and not with names or anything, but just kind of walk us through a case, how that happens. Maybe talk about a case that you folks have had. We don't want to mention any names, obviously, but kind of how it happened, what happened, and then what are some of the ramifications for the teens.
I've had several cases recently where we've talked about that snowball effect where it spreads. I've had multiple cases recently where that occurs. Sometimes the case starts with an allegation of some kind of sexual assault, and sometimes it doesn't. I think the most recent cases I've had, one was connected to a sexual assault case and another was not. It was a parent coming forward and said, I found this on my kid's phone and this is not okay. And then we investigated and we have computer analysts and we have all kinds of experts that can go in and really research and find where all of that started. And that's really what we do, is we go through and we find those connections and we connect it back to the source. And so in multiple cases recently, we charge multiple people that in those kinds of scenarios.
What are the charges they face?
I think there are 5 main charges that apply to this. A lot of them one is called disseminating matter harmful to juveniles. There's a pandering obscenity involving a minor, pandering sexually oriented material involving a minor, and then illegal use of minor in nudity-oriented material performance. And these range from misdemeanors to felonies of the 2nd degree, and the majority of these carry sex offender registration requirements.
Wow.
And even for juveniles, this is another big thing that we run into that juveniles aren't aware of. If you get charged with a juvenile, often, that record will be sealed, but not with sex offender registration. That will follow you and you will continue with those requirements the same way an adult would.
For our viewers or listeners, they actually have to report into the sheriff's office periodically, and it becomes a nightmare.
Right.
In more ways. We are out of time. As hard as that is to believe, we're going to have you back next week and talk about bullying, cyberbullying, which is another thing a lot of people may not be aware of, but certainly it's been in the headlines across the nation. Do appreciate you being with us, Zoe Lamberson and Darcy Cook. Appreciate you being with us. I know you're busy, and great stuff. Until next week, same time, same place. This is Sheriff Dave Phelan. God bless. If you're out there driving, buckle up, and we'll see you right here next week.
There are so many fun things we all can do to be healthier, no matter who you are or where you are. So let's move.
Oh, here we go.
Let's stretch in the grass.
What a play!
Let's play tag.
Wow, unbelievable.
let's jump up and down.
Oh, what a way to finish it.
And most of all, let's eat better so that we have the energy we need to play an hour a day, every day.
Everyone can play. Just go to letsmove.gov to learn more.